All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today on the Divorce Chronicles. Today, our guest is Rich Franklin. Rich is originally from Brooklyn, New York, and he has lived down here in Virginia for about 6 years, which I would love to talk a little bit about how you got here and your life has been a series of incidences that have led you to where you are today, and I love your story. So professionally, he works for AT&T in business sales. He loves to work out and he has a passion for bowling. I've recently had an opportunity to sit down with him to discuss his experience with divorce, co-parenting, and our country's legal system. And so I really enjoyed having and hearing the male perspective on things. So I hope you do too. So without further ado, we have Rich Franklin.
Well, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good, good. Thank you for joining us. And so,
Yeah.
kind of wanted to start off a little bit with your history as much as you want to share with us. How did you get to where you are today?
Okay. Well, fresh out of college, I worked for Verizon, for many, many moons, like so much so that I started, uh, it was October of 2005, and I didn't leave Verizon until 3 Mother's Days ago, so just a couple years ago. And I lived in upstate New York. The job relocated me here, and I supported 7 different states, at the same time, supporting the retail stores as they helped businesses. Um, I left there and then joined AT&T, and T, and but I moved out here in 2018, and I moved out here and I found, like, as soon as I got here, I fell in love with the area. I love the weather. The people here seem to be really nice and welcoming, and I have not had a negative experience in any way, shape, or form since I got here. So it's been like it felt like home pretty early on. Like, I think I was here about a week, and I was like, yes, I made the right decision in choosing to come here.
Yeah,
And then
Rich, you and I share that we have that in common for anybody listening. Anybody from upstate New York and comes to Virginia, we don't ever leave because we don't want to go back to the depression of the 9 month
right,
winters and all of that. So totally understand.
right, because I'm. Because when's the last time we saw snow here? What, 2 years ago? So an actual
Right,
snow, like we
right.
might get a dust here or there. And I'm okay with that. I'll work on my tan. Like, I'm okay with that. I can do that.
Yeah. So when you were in New York, can you share, if you're comfortable, share with us your experience of divorce and co-parenting while you were in New York?
Yes. So I got married really young, and unfortunately, the young lady and I did not work out, and there was a lot of growth that had to happen, in both areas. When the divorce was finalized, I was awarded custody of our daughters, and they lived with me for many, many moons, and they became teenagers and wanted to see what life was like, with their mothers. Unfortunately, she wasn't really present. Um, and they went there to see what life was like with her. But co-parenting was not easy. Especially in New York State, you'll find that it's very, very biased towards women when it comes to family court. Certain rules that apply to men wouldn't apply to women. For example, if the woman is behind on child support, she can be behind for months and nothing will happen. A man doesn't even have to be behind to get a letter in the mail. When the kids went to go live with their mother, and I was it changed, and I was now being charged to pay child support. They would get child support taken from my check every other Friday, which is how it was supposed to be. Yet I was receiving letters in the mail Friday morning, the day that child support was supposed to come out, telling me I was in arrears when I wasn't. And like, New York State is so quick to try to punish men for this. And, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense. Now, yes, there are those parents that don't do what they're supposed to do, and there should be consequences. 100% agree. But you don't help anyone when you create a system that basically holds these children ransom to the fathers. If a man falls behind in child support, they'll take his driver's license, which is counterproductive, because if you take his license, how can he go to work? If he can't get to work, he can't pay child support. And then if he goes far enough behind, they'll put him in jail, which again does not help, because how can he pay child support if he's in jail and he doesn't have a job? And
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
always
such a
found that really interesting myself. Like you said, New York and Virginia, I feel like are a little bit different child support wise, in terms of like coming after people and being able to collect. I wish Virginia was a little bit more strict, because it seems like a lot of people can get away with not paying it and there's really no consequences. But to your point, if you are jailed for lack of child support, I'm assuming you have to pay something to get out of jail to get back on, the straight and narrow. But then also, yeah, how is being jailed going to help you with child support? It kind of defeats the whole purpose. I don't know what the answer is, but I do agree with you. It doesn't really make sense the way that that is
right.
conducted.
Right. It's definitely a flawed system, right? Because being someone who had custody of the girls, I understand the other side of that coin too. The side that normally is reserved for mothers, right? Where it feels like the amount of child support you're getting from the other parent doesn't quite add up to the needs of the child. And that's where conversations should be had between both parents anyway, where it should be a, an actual co-parenting situation. But unfortunately, it's not. I know several men who wholeheartedly feel like these kids are being used as a paycheck. And the court system looks at it in such a manner where if I had custody of the kids and I lost my job, they would deem me unfit, take the children from me and give them to their mother. But if their mother doesn't have a job, they would just take more child support out of me while providing her with different types of benefits to help her keep her home and pay bills. And it's not okay. And I wish I had an answer. I wish I had a solution that would make it better because I've seen both sides of it. Like there isn't one that's clear cut, but there should be something. Whatever the answer should be, it should be even for both. Whatever rule you have for one should be had
Yeah,
for
I
both
agree.
genders, and it